Hello, everybody. All right, so this is not the regular show. Obviously, we're going to do a little bit of gameplay live stream. I'm going to try to beat this General Skywalker event, but I have a special guest who is going to be my host tonight on the show, and I am very excited to butcher your name like I'm about to do. Is it Nikarah?
Yeah, that's however you want to pronounce it.
How? Very nice. So, uh, if you guys are unfamiliar, you run the modding Discord channel, right?
Yeah, I run the modding channel on Discord. I also run the Night Sister. Well,
Awesome. So I am sure a lot of people out there are familiar with you because everyone listening, I'm sure, loves mods, and yeah, so it's a lot of good stuff over there, a lot of good conversation, and y'all can have a breakdown for all the different factions, that sort of stuff. So um, yeah, a lot of fun. I've been hanging out in there and good conversations.
good arguments too. Those are
Yeah,
always the fun ones.
I agree 100%. All right, so I'm ready to kick off this event, and I've barely got everybody to the level they need to be, for 7 star and the power and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see where I end up getting tripped up. So from what I've heard, phases 2 and 4 are pretty difficult. I think I'll have less trouble with phase 2 because Padme is my arena team, and I have her relic along with Kenobi. So I think I'll have less trouble there, but the tier 4 I think I'm gonna have some issues with, but we will see. So Nigar, what arena team do you use?
I am currently using Sith Empire. I am using the Marauder variant, no Sith Trooper. Have my Marauder modded for quite a bit of damage. I want him ideally to take out somebody ASAP and bring it to a 4 vs 5. A lot of my arena is using the Genosian variant, which honestly is probably the most irritating one.
Yes, I hate that team. So I run Padme with R2 typically, and I have figured out here recently that I absolutely have to change things up whenever I go against the stupid variant with the Geonosian in there because it just, I don't know, it just doesn't work very well. So I drop R2 and put Ahsoka back in, and I have far less trouble with that, which is kind of interesting.
Now, if you do unlock General Anakin, are you planning on switching to that in arena? So far, we've been seeing a little bit of mixed results.
Yeah, I think that's just almost the issues people are having. I think is kind of almost entirely a modding issue, is my guess. But I suspect the team will be insanely good. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. Um, what do you think?
I have some mixed feelings on it. I think it'll be a dominant arena team, especially once people start getting him to rock level 7 and once Arc Trooper comes into the fold. But
Yes,
until then, I mean, you're talking Gear 11's taking on high relic Sith Empire teams, and that's just not a recipe for success.
yeah,
And
it's gonna be tough.
yeah, and even then, it's one thing that a lot of people are overlooking is, unlike most teams, you can't successfully clock its turn order because you have to go off of Rex being the fastest one, and then everybody else is at 100% really randomly chosen start to the match. That can both make things really exciting, but also really complicated, and also allow some avenues for some counters that I think
Yep.
pretty interesting down the road.
Well, that first round did not go too well. Alright, so I've only got these 4 ships that I'm stuck with. Let's see what I can't remember what Rex's ability whenever he comes in is. Yeah, it's okay. Um, let's see. I'm going to bring the Umbaran Starfighter off my bench because I love its reinforcement ability. I think it is super awesome. And it'll give me a chance to hopefully inflict a little extra target lock for a better AoE. Well, that is. Yeah, I need Anakin staying a little bit longer. That's not good. I'm worried my mace might be a little too slow. Yeah, this was a terrible idea. Good lord. Let's see. You have to start with Anakin. Man, I may have to keep Ahsoka coming off the bench. I'll give this another chance because I think if I can get fives in there, I think I'll be in a good spot, but we will see.
That starting mark is pretty brutal.
It's very, very annoying, to say the least. I need them to just leave Anakin alone and, alright. Alright, that's what I needed. That is not what I needed. Need you to stay alive, Rex. Come on. Yep, that's not what I needed. Alright, hopefully we can get fives in here. They're low-ish on turn meter, but nope, no target locks. No target locks, that's not good. Man, I hate these vulture droids. They're so annoying. Let's see. GMP said that he used Rex and Clone Trooper as the backups. Clone Trooper might be my problem. I'm probably gonna need another ship because I'm really not sure if I'm not sure that my ships are gonna be good enough, but I guess we'll see. Um, let him try to beat up fives a little bit. All right, making some progress here. So what do you think as far as the modding should be on General Skywalker?
I'm always a little hesitant to go, you know, completely all in on modding before I can have a character. In full disclosure, I'm actually sitting out this event. My ships are not where they need to be to even
Yeah.
attempt the unlock, unfortunately. But just in looking at his kit, part of it to me screams some potency for the days application, particularly if he's able to spam the ability. It remains to be seen what the AI is going to do on defense with it, whether it tries to maximize the use and the cooldown reduction of those special abilities, or whether it just goes for maximum damage output at any particular time. And I think that will have a big bearing on how we look at the modding for General Anakin going forward. We go for something that's more of an attacker base or something that's tankier.
That is a good point. Let's see. I'm going to try and get B2 out of the way. That'll at least stop him from trying to get rid of my... Or no, that's not what I wanted. Alright, so I have never used Shock T before. Um, so this should be interesting. I'm going to have to learn all of her abilities as we go. Let's see. Gotta hope my
Oh,
I don't think that'll be too much of a problem for me, or at least I'm hoping not, because, like I said, my Shock T's kind of pathetic, so I kind of expected to have an issue there. That B2 is incredibly annoying. Keeps getting rid of my courage and potency, or sorry, not potency, protection up, which is terribly annoying. Um, yeah, this is
Yay.
not a good start. Um, Somebody saying I need to turn your volume down a smidgen. Will you talk again? Let me see if that fixes it.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, I think I was dropping my audio. All right, how's that, everybody?
Is that better?
And yes, I do have tunnel vision, Joker. I'm sorry. Don't judge me. No. All right. Well, this is not going to go well this time. Made a little bit of progress, so we'll see. Need to turn you down just a bit more, they say. All right. So yeah, what do you think about as far as like speed on General Skywalker? Um, how important do you think that's going to be? Because I have somebody running him in my arena, and I mean, he basically went entirely speed on him, and that's not exactly what I've been thinking just by reading the kit. But you know, as you mentioned, who the hell knows at this point?
Right. It's a little early to tell. Instinctively, I would say that I would prioritize the damage more than speed. Um, I would put speed secondary to whether it's a damage oriented build or a tankier build.
Yeah,
And the primary reason for that is that you want to focus speed on rep initially, especially once we get down the road far and away of high relic maxed out mirror matches with this team. It's going to be
yeah,
all about Rex going first to eliminate people right off the bat. And so I think higher damage Anakin will be down the line. Now I think we do need some potency for that day.
yeah. Days is just absolutely awesome.
And it's not hugely important against the Sith Empire, but it's very important against Padme, particularly Ahsoka. And I think
Yes.
possibly be one of the better counters down the line.
Um, Talking about primaries, he. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Crap, I need Ahsoka. I'm not. Well, crap. I'm not sure what's gonna happen here.
Oof.
Oh man, those stupid Magna Guards just keep coming back. This is annoying. Um,
You're not in the worst shape right now.
no, but I gotta get rid of that
I think,
freaking B1 droid. It's terribly annoying.
yeah.
He is killing me. Um, well, there he went, and there goes Padme. I am screwed. That's not a terrible spot to end, though. I think if I can get back there, I think I'll be okay. I may have to remod my Padme because I have her loaded up with offense with some extra health. Um, that's kind of how I roll with her, so may have to change that up a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, I might just start going pure health on everybody here. Just this
Yeah,
looks like it's going to be a slugfest more than anything.
I agree. Gotta make sure I keep counter on everybody because I think that's going to be super important. Um, all right, so we have that permanent stun on B2, which is going to help a ton. That's one thing that Padme is amazing at. I love that permanent stun. So now I just gotta make sure to get rid of. No. Okay. Whew, he didn't have it. Let's see. All right. There we go. And let's see if we can get this stupid droid out of the way. Ouch. Yeah, you definitely need that protection up Zeta from Padme, it seems, because they attack. I mean, that's the only reason Kenobi is still alive. I'll give him some extra protection up. That's a great thing about having what's his name, C-3PO on this team is just any buff gives you protection up, which is so important. Yeah, that's what I thought. Freaking damage immunity. I need to get the get Padme's protection up. Dang it!
Oh,
So close. Ah, this is terrible. Well, it might not be
what's
in.
your? Ooh, we'll see.
We will see. Come on. Oh crap.
Oh,
Okay, well this is very bad. Not having 3PO there is gonna absolutely wreck the amount of protection up I've got. Um, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this with my arena mods on Padme. I'm going to have to do something different. I just run her too slow on my arena team. So I'm gonna go save these mods. And let me go find a different character that has something a little bit more like what I'm looking for and throw on there and see what happens. Grievous's set might not be a bad idea. I think as a no, mostly not too bad. Has some good speed and a lot of health, so I'm going to steal Grievous's mods for Padme and throw a speed arrow on her because I kind of think her going super often is going to be pretty important.
I admire your dedication to using loadouts. Not something that I can bring myself to do.
I don't really use them much at all. I'm just kind of using them now just to kind of make remodding them just to make this a bit easier. But yeah, the loadouts feature is amazing. I love it, but it's one of those things that I definitely do not use as much as I probably should because it's kind of amazing. But I generally delete all the mod sets. Like after I go through and do a big remodding, I'll delete all the mod sets and then go back to creating new ones whenever I remod a character or team or whatever. I don't know why I keep calling Kenobi with that. That's stupid. I need to make sure I call Padme on that. Ooh, that did some pretty nice work on B1 over there.
It looks like we still have some people saying that I'm coming a little bit too loud.
Are you? All right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't turn down the volume of my voice very much.
I can turn you down pretty easily. So, oh, there we go. All right, B1's out of the way. I just need to get a little bit more health on Ahsoka before something bad happens. Let's see. Come on. Stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Alright, let's get protection up back on everybody. Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. I think I need to focus on getting the 3 stacks of translation on Padme, get that on her a little bit earlier, and then basically just spam 3PO's basic, kind of like, in the heroic Sith raid, kind of that same sort of strategy, um, like you do with RJT. Uh, that way she can keep giving protection up and getting rid of all the debuffs and all that crap. So let's try this again. 3 stacks of translation on Padme is my goal. And that'll be something else I can do with Shock T, actually, is I would be able to call in Padme, or sorry, call in 3PO, and that would reduce Padme's cooldowns, which I think will be I think that'll be pretty useful. We'll see. All right, there we go. B2 out of the way. Now I can keep all of my buffs and let's see. All right, so she's got, she had a ton of cards stacked up. All went bye-bye. All right, so, oh, come on. Stupid droidecas, man. Brutal. Yeah, this is not going to go well. I feel pretty confident about that.
It's a good start.
Yeah, I felt like the start was awesome, and then it just kind of crumbled from there. Yeah, all right. I'm just going to retreat because that is going nowhere. I feel like my mods are probably pretty solid at this point. Gonna try something a little bit different rather than stunning him.
I'll say maybe entertain stunning one of the droidicas. On B2, he's going to cycle out of the
That's
turn anyways. You do damage.
Yeah, that is a pretty good idea actually. Because those droidecas are brutal. Yeah, I keep getting mixed up on Shaak Ti's abilities. I keep using the wrong one on Padme and the other one on Kenobi. I'm just going to restart this. Ridiculous. All right, so I'll go back to stunning B2 in the beginning, and then I am going to focus on getting the once B2's buff removal ability is out of the way, then I can focus on getting crit immunity on Kenobi, which he will have that with protection up, but that protection up goes very quickly. God, those droidecas are insane.
Your Kenobi's health out of curiosity.
Uh, I think he's 85,000 health.
It's fairly.
I could certainly add more. Because I think I have 2 defense sets on him. Uh, so I could certainly add more without too much trouble. But, well,
God.
good lord. This is pretty rough. Alright, now let's restart. Let's see if we can do a little bit better this time. My strategy is working pretty well for getting B2 out of the way, but it's just being fussy at this point. Right, so that'll get... And of course it triggers. I don't think losing Shock T is that big of a deal for me, but we will see. Yeah, I can't imagine doing this without Gear 13. As you saw, my Kenobi and Padme are the only 2 that are Gear 13, but yeah.
Well, thinking back to the opening part, you get confused on B2 early rather than focusing on B2. Maybe try spreading the damage around, try stunning the Magna Guards because they're the ones that are cleansing him. So
Yeah,
he's pretty useless as long as he maintains that debuff. So if you can stun them and prevent them from attacking, they won't cleanse
that
him.
is a good point, and I can, just using any special basically gets rid of their buffs because I do have the Zeta on Ahsoka, obviously. Um,
Right.
I think I'd probably need to go to using her basic a bit more, actually. That's not good.
I'm also
There.
kind of tempted to say if
Oh
Grievous is
god.
about to, I think if Grievous is about to take turns and somebody's near death, just kill him anyway, because at least it's
Yes.
less that
I
he's
think
stacking his health.
that's I think that part's probably going to be pretty important, timing when you kill them, because if he's going to attack anyway, you know, um I'm going to try something a little bit different. Oh, that's not good. Oh crap, I forgot he only does on the buffs.
Good night, Punk. Asked the question since I'm not unlocking General Anakin. What are my plans for counters? Sit in the corner and cry. That's my current plan.
That's a pretty good counter, I think, although it's not going to get you a lot of crystals.
No, unfortunately not. No, I plan on taking my Sith Empire team pretty much to Relic 7 across the board and hoping that at least in Arena it just boxes people out while we don't have him currently maxed. And after that, hopefully by the time they're, finally getting him to Relic 7, he comes around for the second time and I can play catch up a bit.
Not a bad idea. Um, I have a semi-interesting idea about a counter, and the only reason that Darth Revan's leader ability, is better than Emperor Palpatine's is because it doesn't rely on turn meter gain that they intentionally made Malak stop. So my thoughts on counter is going to be an Emperor Palpatine team because Kenobi has the ability to remove his own debuffs. There's a decent amount of cleansing there, and I kind of think Emperor Palpatine with like Darth Revan, Malak, Basilisk Shawn, I and Darth Nihilus specifically. I think something like that could actually work really well because you could probably get a lot of turns in. Using Darth Nihilus to increase cooldowns and then hopefully annihilate Kenobi, I think might be a pretty solid strategy.
Uh, and there are a few problems with pretty much any counter involving Nihilus. I mean, yeah, he could do Annihilate, but the problem is that if he may
Damn.
not live that long. He may not live that long under most leads. I'm really hoping that whatever that special thing they've got going on with Treya is something that helps out with this a bit.
Yeah. It's certainly a possibility because I mean we know that they're going to be adding abilities. They've specifically said that that's coming. And if you guys don't know what he's talking about, there was a leak, obviously, where I guess a bug where Treya has, it looks like, an extra ability, which is kind of interesting. Alrighty. I'm going to try to get him out of the way as quick as possible and cross my fingers. Oh, I just need a turn from somebody. There we go. Let's see. Who does not? Everyone has it, so we'll put it back on Padme. Ah, no. So close. If Padme was just a little bit faster on that turn, I think I would have had it. But, okay, here we go. I think this will get rid of him. Yep. Alright. Okay. I think we're in a good spot. We'll see how long this good spot lasts, but I really like how this is going so far. All right, I gotta get one of these Droideka down. Let's see. I think I need to go for the kill shot. Oh no. Okay. That that worked out all right. Now get some protection up. Um that was stupid. I should have just used my basic there. Probably help protect everyone, but yee. This is not good. There's just no way I'm going to be able to stack up enough protection up to take him down, I don't think. Yep. Huh. Chicken Bottom says I should probably make my Padme a little bit faster, which is probably not a terrible idea. Let's see if I can find. I'm gonna go look for some health primaries with a lot of speed. And let's see if I can avoid using a speed set.
I wish they would give us the option to see what the stats are for characters in different events. easily
Yes,
reference, hey, they've got this much crit chance, this much speed, make
that would be
better.
nice. Alrighty, here we go. Somebody said, alright, so everyone already has it. So we'll put crit immunity on Kenobi, and there goes everything. Freaking great. Alright. Yeah, I need to try to keep. I don't think Shaak Ti's super important. I think I'll be fine without her, but she certainly does help. Um, I may have to remod her because I honestly don't even know what mods I've got on her. I was kind of planning on her just being a filler, but I might need to do something a little bit more, you know, just mod her a little bit better. We'll see. Uh, this is not going well, though. That is for sure. All right, let's try this again. Well, that's lame. Actually, I probably should have called Shaak Ti to give some buffs, but she does it anyway. Let's just hope it doesn't trigger B2. Um, no, not what I wanted. That B2 is terribly annoying, especially for a team that relies on protection up so much. Not sure how I feel about the opening I'm going with. I'm going to take another look at Ahsoka's mods because those are decent, but I should probably let me try modding her for a bit more health. Let's see. God, my mods are going to be a freaking disaster. Hopefully I can remember where all of these go. I'm not sure that's really worth the benefit, to be honest. Yeah, it probably is.
What can her, what are those two other mods that could be sliced look like?
Um, I don't think they're anything special. There was kind of leftover stuff that I threw on her. I will look at it again in 1 second, though.
Well, that implies you're anticipating defeat. Well, it's going to be a win. I can feel it.
Well, yeah, I meant check them after I win. See what kind of mods I use to beat the thing. That's what I meant. Oh, the worst is when waste stacks of courage on the stupid droid Ekkas that can't even take damage. Ridiculous.
I definitely think having retribution on Kenobi early is benefit.
I'm kind of wondering if the B1 droid was kind of bothering me at first, but I'm kind of getting okay with him. I mean, there's just a lot of attacks from him, which kind of actually helps with the protection up. I may try to leave him around a little bit longer this time. And again, that might not be a good idea. Who knows? Let's get this stupid B2 out of the way so I can keep my protection up at least. And we'll go from there. This is going terribly.
God.
Yeah, I'm just going to
200,000 off
retreat because
damage
that
hit.
is going nowhere. Let's go check her mods. Yeah, I'm not sure how much anything would slicing either of those would help me all
I
that
would
much.
slice that one. It's got 9 and 4% critical. Definitely could be
Yeah,
worse.
I think that's a good mod to slice for her, but I'm not sure how much it helps me in this event's the only problem. And I'm kind of
That's
low on slicing material.
oh yeah.
Let's check Shakti. I think she's got quite a bit of speed, not a ton of health. I mean, not that. I mean, she's not going to do anything to stay around very long anyway. So, let's see if I can find something that'll work on her with. Yeah, I'll take that, put that on her, give her a little bit more health. Because why not?
I'll say maybe ditch the potency so that she's not going to live long enough anyway. May as well beef her up a bit.
That is true. Um, hello. I will be right back in 1 second.
And the wife calls. Chicken Bottom says, here's a Padme go first, use her second. You go. She'll hit super hard because she'll have all the strength. Just basic give offense up. Sokka will go and finish off. It's not a bad idea, Chicken Bottom. I believe I read earlier that somebody mentioned um, something to the effect of if you kill B2 early, that General Grievous will not take a bonus turn. Anybody able to confirm that? Right. That's true too. Even if he does take a turn, he can do nearly as much damage. What about killing the Magna Guard first? Is there any feedback on how that usually goes? Just getting rid of playing whack-a-mole with them. I'll suggest whatever Chicken Bottoms whenever he gets check alone. I mean, yeah, obviously, you want to kill B2 first. This team looks a little bit too low of gear, and it seems like it's playing whack-a-mole to me. Just B1 taunt, B2 goes, B1 taunt, or sorry, not B1 taunt, Magna Guard taunt, B2 goes, and then Magna Guard taunt, and B2 goes. Right. And gear might be the. While we're waiting for him to get back from doing dishes or doing a light bulb or fixing the plumbing, you guys got any other questions? Okay, so leave B1 alone entirely, let him feed your protection up rather than going for B1 directly after B2. Is that what you guys are saying? Seems to make sense.
Okay, I'm back.
Alright, so there's a little bit of feedback from the community in the meantime while you were gone.
Okay.
So, speed of swallow. I guess the prevailing idea is kill B2, and the suggestion on how to do that was have Padme go first, use her second. I assume that means use her second special.
Protection up.
Right. Then have Shock. Again, it just says use her second. So I assume that means second ability, so I'm going to assume that means the protection up. And then have Shock T go.
Okay.
She'll hit super hard because of all the strength. This pointing to courage. And then have her use her basic to give offense up to everyone. Then Ahsoka will go and finish off B2. We're also suggesting to leave B1 alone because the assists are feeding your protection up.
Yeah, that's
So I guess kill B2 and go for the others. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Honest, Aston's like, while you were off fixing the plumbing or screwing a light bulb or whatever you were doing, if they had any questions, and Sylvanas makes a on-point Monty Python reference with a swallow.
Nice. Very nice.
Whether or not dragging a coconut.
Okay. Well, that's not good. This is terribly annoying.
I would, yeah, definitely finish off that droid. Or not.
Magna Guard.
I would have gone for the droid.
Actually, I'll do that and refresh some abilities. Well, that's bad.
This is going to go poorly in a second.
Yeah, there it goes. This has been a little bit tougher than I expected.
I do think you're running a little bit low gear for it.
I think that is probably fair. Um, hmm. And of course, it triggers, and there we go. That's about as poorly as it can go.
Wow. Yeah, that's a bad start.
I think I'm go back to doing that ability and kind of see how this goes. I forget that first special of Shocks does, removes all debuffs, which is pretty helpful. Well, that's annoying. Alright, maybe. Hopefully her special. Nope, special not available. Of course.
And he's just not dying.
I kind of think I was doing a little bit better with my other set on Padme. I'm going to go back to that. Go back to my offense set, which I know isn't exactly optimal for damage output, but crap. Stupid mod limits. I hate that. Gotta put his mods back on, so I'll have space to move mods around. Alrighty, let's go back to assign the loadout. Go back to this, and I think we will go with find something crit damage based. Let's have something with decent speed. There we go. Because I kind of think I need the damage output from Padme, not just from. Okay, so she's gonna be a little bit slower now. Actually, I forgot I was gonna put a speed arrow on, but I forgot to do that. There we go. Yeah, I think the damage from Padme is what I need. We'll see. Hopefully one of these droid echoes will open up in a second. Not sure why I just put confuse on that droid echo, but all right. That was not positive. Need 3PO hanging around just a little bit longer. He's a little squishy. Been considering taking him up just because of how squishy he is at gear 12. And I don't have like any of the health pieces on him that he probably really needs anyway. So, um, my goodness. When he goes, he just smashes everything.
Yeah, this is where it'd be really helpful to note his crit chance, critical avoidance. All.
Yes, 100%. Because it's kind of hard to, um, it's kind of hard to know uh, exactly how you should be modding and such. Um, okay. All right, there we go. That worked out nicely. Good. Nice amount of protection up going on now, so that's good. Um,
Yeah, kill the Magna Guard. Kill
uh,
who? You know,
thought I might be able to kill that one, but
because GG's right at his other turn. You got it anyway, so hey, that works.
heck yeah. Um,
Oh, hey, you're gonna get this one too. Kill the other. I would go for the other Magna Guard here. See if Padme can one shot it. Hopefully.
all right, let's see. Yep. I'm not sure if I can get an attack in though. We'll see if. Um, oops. All right. I need to get more protection up on everybody. So, hopefully, Padme can special. There we go. What ability is that? That's the immunity. Need that. Um, let's go and take that one. Nope. Not sure if that was a gamble worth taking, but okay. I think I am going to be able to get one or two of these guys taken out. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Unbelievable. That was going so well, too. Alright, so.
Yeah, I think you got to kill those droidicas whenever you have the chance. I don't think you can afford to change targets on.
Yeah, they're too important. Alright, so we'll get the. Go ahead and get the offense up, and we'll hope that. Dang it. He's going to get rid of all my buffs. Yeah, it works a lot better when I can get that special from Ahsoka to actually work, right off the bat. And I'm just going to restart. This is not going well. We'll give this another maybe 5 or 10 minutes and then probably go ahead and move to the regular show because unfortunately I don't have all night to do this and I wish I did.
Joker offered a correction to my apparent herbal advice there. He said, no, don't kill the other Magna. Leave one almost dead so you can kill when the other respawns and get back.
That's probably not a bad idea. We'll see if I can get back to that spot again.
In the heat of the moment, it made sense not to feed GG.
Man. Carbon asks if I have Kenobi Zeta. I do. I think I've got every Zeta on this team except for Shock T's lead, which obviously isn't useful. So my Padme and Kenobi are Gear 13, Relic 3 and 5, and then Ahsoka 3PO are Gear 12 with a Gear 9 Shock T.
I mean, considering you've gotten reasonably close with those gear levels, that alone is real.
Yeah, the only thing is whenever it gets down to stupid General Grievous, man, he just smashes everything.
Yeah, you just don't have enough damage to bring him down.
Yeah, those droid echoes are so annoying. I may need to add a little bit of health to 3PO because his health levels just are not cutting it. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I keep using the wrong special on her. It's very annoying. There we go. Alrighty. Okay, I think this is going reasonably well. Alright, he's about to go, I think. Oh, no. Okay. Ah, no. Oh, this is horrible. Yeah, Carbon, I'm pretty much modded for health all the way around, other than I think Ahsoka has some crit damage and Padme has offense set. Yeah, this is going pretty poorly. Speed to go first, I do not know. Big deal. I have no idea. I did see someone talking about it, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. Yeah, I don't really want to put any more gear on him. Alrighty, let's try this. Oh, nope, he just gets rid of it. Never mind. Let's see if I can keep them from taunting, but yeah, I think I may switch to a a speed arrow on Padme and see how that does. Oh, this could be good. There we go. I just gotta find a way to keep Kenobi from losing anything. Let's see. Use a basic there since Padme has 3 stacks on her.
I would target the other Magna instead. That one has the views on it currently. Taunt.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. Well, let's see if...
That dispel. That is irritating.
Yes. Oh, that's so annoying. If I can just get a turn in here. There we go. Oh, crap. Yeah, we'll go all out. Alright, there we go. Yeah, this is going to go poorly again. Alright, let's try switching that up to an offense speed arrow. And still Anakin's. Still only takes her up to 245. Of course, like I said, I don't really worry too much about speed on her, so maybe I'll try adding a little bit. Let's see how this does. Okay. Oh, gosh dang it. I'm just gonna kill that stupid thing. That was probably not the right strategy. Alright, let's see if I can speed up Ahsoka some. Not sure how much I can, but oops.
Far are you from taking her to Gear 13? I really,
Am a little bit further than I want to be. I mean, well, there's 20 speed I can add. I'll take some of my bounty hunter mods, and that should make her quite a bit quicker. That didn't quite make her fast enough. I'm going to try to get her sped up to the point where she can go a little bit earlier and hopefully go before those Magna Guards. I got that mod. It's 244. Well, stupid thing's not letting me. I'll just switch out one mod and see if that gets me fast enough.
So everyone's saying that 270 is the lowest speed to go for.
Well, she almost went. That was close. I don't remember how much speed she gains. I think it's 25 speed. Well, so let's try putting this on there. That'd get her. Unbelievable. I'm just going to sell some mods that I'll probably never do anything with. I really wish they would change the just the whole mod system as far as that goes, because it's so annoying. Hate having to sell mods every now and then, and it is the absolute worst.
I understand why there's a limit. It's inconvenient, but I understand why it's there.
I don't know why I used the special. Should have just basicked, but good grief. Give some protection up and get rid of the buff. Oh, I do not know what to do. I don't think I'll get another turn if I don't take it now, so I do kind of think that was the right decision. Unbelievable. We'll just keep working on this same one. It's like they go 70 million times in a row. It's no. Yeah, when he gets enraged, that's pretty much where things end.
Yeah, if you don't urge to build up, it's pretty quick.
I should have used basic. Yeah. Big Deal told me to turn up my volume. Okay. I think that's all I can turn it up on here without. Well, I can probably. No, that's pretty much all I've got. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Ahsoka kind of has to still be there.
I'm thinking Gear 13 Relic will really help you a lot on Ahsoka specifically.
Yeah, I think that would probably get me over the hump. I don't really want to do it because I think I am going to need that later. The gear piece that she needs, I'd be able to craft probably Sunday or something. But that's about the soonest I'd be able to do it, so Well, this is very much going poorly. All right, I'm going to give it one more attempt, and then we will jump over to the regular show. You a college football fan?
College, no. NFL, yes.
Who's your team?
Make everyone here hate me. Nah.
Patriots?
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if everyone hates you, but most people do. uh, yeah, I am. I am ready for football tomorrow. The Red River rivalry is what I am looking forward to this weekend.
That's a big one.
Yep, should be a good one, and I think that this tier is going for me about as well as the game's going to go for Texas, which is not good. All right, here we go. Let's see what we can manage. Oh, God, I wish the other one was taunting. I do not want to do this.
Yeah. Don't want to kill. Oof.
Freaking Ahsoka, man. All right. I'm going to have to set this down, call it quits. I am going to pause the stream, and then we will be back in a few minutes and get on with the regular show. So we will be right back.
That's brutal. I think you're going to need more gear. I don't think you can change mods all you want. I don't think you're going to do it on your current gear levels. Really don't. I mean, with like 600 attempts, maybe. Still what?
hello and welcome to the Shadow Roar podcast. Um, I have a special guest, which, if you're watching the live stream, you know about. But of course, if you're listening to audio only, you didn't get to see me just fail away at the General Skywalker event. But I have special guest Nikarah here from the Modding Discord channel and the Night Sisters Discord channel. Links to those will be in the show notes. You can check that out. But thanks for joining, man. And how's it going?
Thank you for having me. Doing well. How are you?
Well, I've been better. Yeah.
I confess, I already knew the answer. For those who were watching the previous showing, it was
this is not good.
not pretty. It was not
good
pretty.
at all. Yeah, that was gone. That went pretty terrible. So, yeah. So tell everybody kind of what you do in the community and such, and tell them where to find you.
Well, you can find me pretty much everywhere. I'm in a lot of different servers, but I run both the modding server and the Night Sisters Discord server previously mentioned. I participate pretty actively in those. I've different guilds as well. You can find me in some other. You might be able to find me in the Operation Metaverse server as well.
Okay. Yeah. Good friends with those people. T-Money usually hangs out in our live chat. She's not here tonight, though.
Yeah, I think they're actually doing the same thing we just did. Fail miserably at General Anakin event.
Yeah, I think everybody in the community is doing that tonight. I think that's how everyone's spending their Friday. So yeah,
not me. I will, as I mentioned in the last bit, I will not be getting General Anakin. My chips are not to do it, so unfortunately, I have no choice.
Well, I think you'll be okay. It's a frustrating event so far. I will say this though. One thing that I found interesting was not getting Malik the first time around was one of the best things that ever happened to me in this game. I've been using Padme ever since in Arena. It's really made the game a ton of fun as far as, theory crafting and that sort of stuff, which has been really cool. So maybe you'll get that same experience by not having General Skywalker. And maybe I will too at this rate.
I'm not too terribly worried about it. I mean, also, if we remember, Darth Revan came out, and then very shortly after Malik came out, and then very shortly after Malik, Padme came out. So it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of echo that release pattern and everything else as well. Yeah. Especially with the new movies coming out.
100%. I mean, we're going to see a switch to Resistance and First Order. There's obviously going to be a Legendary, some sort of special event there. So it's just a matter of how long this General Skywalker thing takes place. But we'll get into talking about him and some of our thoughts and all that sort of stuff here in a bit. But first, we want to talk about this.
Hey guys, what did you do in Swoga this week?
You didn't hear anything, did you?
I heard something.
Oh, okay.
It cut out halfway through. It was a, hey guys, how are you doing? And then...
Yeah, well... I'll be honest, I'm not the guy who runs the stream usually, so I don't know what I'm doing. It'll sound fine on the audio show. If you're listening on Twitch or YouTube, I apologize. I have no idea how this is going to go.
It's more fun that way.
That's totally fair, yeah. So, this week in Swoga, I didn't really do a whole hell of a lot. I finished off Shaak Ti, obviously, and threw a Zeta on her. In preparation for the General Skywalker event, of course. And then I also got a new personal record in the Heroic Sith Raid, Phase 1. I got just over 13 million, which was, I was pretty thrilled with that. Using, RJT, BB-8, R2, Finn and 3PO, and R2 is the only character in that team that I have to Gear 13 and Relics, so I was pretty thrilled with that. What did you do this week?
Well, my main focus was bringing up my peripheral teams, not, additional teams for Grand Arena specifically. The highlight was taking Scion to Gear 13 and then also Relic
Nice.
2. Honestly, not something I really wanted to do. It's not flashy, it's not exciting, but the trade team is such a linchpin in both Territory Wars and Grand Arena for they're necessary. If they lose, it's usually followed by a loss.
Yeah. So how much do you focus like building your roster around Grand Arena? Like, what is your primary game mode that you care about?
My primary game modes are Grand Arena and Territory, without a doubt. Grand Arena used to be number one. It is very, very quickly plummeting down, given the various matchmaking issues that they have been having, as well as the fact that the rewards are out across all the different divisions. Doesn't make a whole.
The rewards are terrible, absolutely terrible.
They're awful.
That's the one. I like the game mode, but that's by far the worst part. It's so frustrating.
Right, is an atrocious reward for the amount of, and so it's given the matchmaking and given that I am now facing 3 of the same people in this bracket, my last one, and it's not exciting.
Really?
Not fun. Really, yeah. 3 out of 5 are the same. Right. So, it is what it is, but, when you see things like that consistently, and that's the second or third time it's happened,
yeah.
And the rewards aren't there to back it up, it loses its spark and stops all fun and new. Territory Wars, love that. Big Territory War. So, my Genosians were non-existent a couple months ago. My Padme was non-existent. I've been working pretty hard on building these.
Good choices. Really good teams. Territory War, I'm becoming more of a fan of. I used to not be a huge fan. Our guild in general is just not that crazy about it. We have people who do care, but for the most part, we don't worry. Like, we're not that strict about anything. We still usually do pretty well. We win most of the time, but it's still kind of, it's one of those things that we're a little bit more relaxed about. But it is fun, and maybe that's why I enjoy it, because we are fairly chill about the whole thing. But yeah, it's a pretty cool game mode. I do wish they'd make Grand Arena better because it has so much potential, but I guess that's beside the point.
Well, I wish I would at least toggle with the old style Grand Arena. To where it doesn't have to be a month-long commitment.
Yeah. And, you can jump in here and there, but the problem is if you do that, you're just giving up so many rewards and stuff,
Right. They moved so many of the rewards to the back end, and even then, it's not what it used to be. I preferred the mod-centric reward they had for the first couple Grand Arena.
Sorry. Had a distraction. So you want to go ahead and jump into talking about General Skywalker?
Yeah, sure. We discussed him a little bit in the last one. He's, to me, so far, it's a little hard to really say this is what I would recommend or this is what I would intend to do. Based off of his kit, to me, it looks like he wants a little bit of everything. A little bit of speed, a little bit of potency, some offense, good survivability. But he could overall be a very difficult character to mod. I don't think he needs dominant speed, like we see in the Sith Empire meta. I think the nature of this team, I think loading Rex with speed will be the way to go, and then everybody else loading them with damage, and then the idea being that the fastest wins, and that you can tear down 2 or 3 characters of the enemy.
Yeah. Um. So he's got 4 Zetas, which is his first character with 4 Zetas. I am pretty sure. Definitely the first one
Yes,
with a Zeta on his basic, which is kind of crazy, and understandably so because it is quite good. But his kit is very interesting with this advance and cover mechanic, which he is always in one of those. And it just kind of depends on where he's at with protection. If he's out of protection, he's in cover, recovering protection, and if he's not in cover, he's obviously in advance, and that's when he is not recovering, but he's able to attack and taunt and all that sort of stuff, and other 501st allies can't lose health. So it's they said, some of the devs said that he's very much made to be kind of like a raid boss, where you have this phase of toppling him, and then you're able to take out the sides, and then he comes back, and you have to topple him again, and then once you kill all the sides, then it's like the enraged phase, because he has that ability where he starts gaining 35% turn meter after every single turn of yours, so he's going a ton. So I mean, there's certainly a hell of a lot going on with this kit. But like you said, there's so much stuff to consider here, because he has, whether he's in advanced or cover is kind of based on protection. So that kind of leads you towards defense and protection as far as if you're trying to outlast that. But he has counter chance also. He has 100% counter chance with the Zeta, which is pretty awesome. Somebody that counters a lot, that obviously lends to more offense, because anytime you're attacking out of turn, you get some benefit by giving up some speed to get, a little bit of offense. In a full 501st, he has the plus 50% crit damage. With that unique ability that gives him counter chance, he has a 50% 50% critical chance. So he's able to dish out pretty good amounts of damage, and so that's kind of where I was thinking, as far as maybe going heavy with the offense and heavy on the protection, and just kind of not worrying about speed too much, given that he's in cover a lot of time too, so your turn order, like worrying about turn order and stuff with this team, might not be something you want to worry about too much. What do you think about that?
Well, as I mentioned previously, for one, turn order is not only something that you shouldn't be too concerned about. I'm not sure it's something you can be concerned about.
Yeah.
There's 2 ways of doing this team, and I discussed this in one of the Discord servers earlier today. I believe when it comes down to mirror matches, I think it'll be all about who is the faster Rex versus Sith Empire teams. However, I think it'll be better to have Rex go after General Anakin and have him go first. All different reasons for that. Number one being that lowers Malik's health by 20% every single time. After watching a couple of the videos, I think the best start is actually going, regardless of what Malik's health is, after 7 targets. I did the math at one point, and I think it brings him down to about 29% of his total health value. So with 250,000 health, Malik brought in 30,000. 5 attacks, it's down to 50. He can be one shot by pretty much any.
Yeah.
I think going for Malik first help a lot. Then the reason you would want Rex after is because by Rex going after him, he could use his ability and then instantly give him turn meter to clear off, at that point he would be feared automatically. Now, the 50% counter chance that you pointed to is a little bit of a double-edged sword.
Yes, very much so.
Or sorry, 50% critical chance with 100% counter chance. Anytime
Yes.
he's attacked, he counters. And if he counters on a Malik, he gets feared. But
Yep.
at the same time, those counters will also lower that maximum health, even if they're out of turn. So you can
Yes.
bring down Malik pretty quickly and make him utterly. But if you go for mirrors, and I do think that the mirror matches for this team will be all about which Rex goes, you cannot guide your turn order. Possible.
Yes.
The game does not have mods that are fast enough to support a Rex that can go first, turn meter to everyone, and still have control over your turn order. And I think that is a little bit of a problem.
Well, there's something else in mirror matches with this team is the fact that Anakin goes into cover and, goes into advance, and him coming out of cover is based on the number of total turns that are taken. So the faster that your team is, the quicker your Anakin is, of course, recovering protection, but it's also the faster that the other team is recovering protection. I think that's his leader ability. So that is one thing that I think is going to kind of create all sorts of problems is it's almost like high offense is kind of going to counter a lot of speed. There's going to be some sort of balancing act in there, especially in mirror matches. I'm not sure what I see being the best, but the fact that they have the 2% offense stacking when an enemy gains a buff is kind of interesting. So if you're going faster and going more often, giving more buffs, naturally the opposing team would be stacking up their offense higher. So the faster you're going, the faster they're stacking offense. And if they're already going higher on, the damage output, that it could be counter productive. Does that make sense? Did I explain that very well?
Right.
I'm not sure if I did.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely. Obviously, we're a little too early to tell, but there's the possibility that this team could end up being a team where you don't want to be fast, you don't want to be too slow. Definitely don't think an all-speed build is a good idea.
Yeah.
Definitely don't think a complete turtle build slow as molasses team is the way to go either.
Yeah.
Middle ground. I do think a fast Rex will be the way to go down the line once a lot of these teams. Maybe a fast Anakin at that point, as you said. If everybody else is slow, it lowers the ability to stack enemies' offense while still doing a lot of damage. But if your Anakin's fast, you're resetting while also not beating theirs out of his cover as quick. It'll be a balancing act.
And the other thing is, attacking the opposing Anakin with Anakin, of course, will, you'll be able to start lowering that max health. Well, actually, no, I guess you can't attack him when he doesn't have protection, can you?
No, you can't target him.
You can't target him, but you. So you'd be able to damage him with AOE. So yeah, actually, I guess that wouldn't be very beneficial. But he has this really interesting mechanic.
It comes down to
whenever it comes down to what?
If it comes down to Anakin versus Anakin, it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yes, that will be very interesting. And one thing that's kind of cool with these special abilities, he has this mechanic where basically if he uses one special ability first, he resets the cooldown of his opposing special ability. And so he can basically use his special abilities back to back. And I think they both have a 3-turn cooldown. So it's almost like every other turn he'll kind of be refreshing that, using back-to-back special abilities, and these special abilities are pretty impressive. I mean, you have armor shred, you have AOE days. I mean, there's just so much going on with this kit. Let's see. There was something I was looking for in this kit. I can't remember what it is. What are your just like general thoughts on the kit? Do you think it's a little much, or do you think it's balanced pretty well?
I think it's interesting. I think it's fun. Um, I think a lot of people should be grateful we don't have live PvP and arena defense because it would be a nightmare for a lot of people to learn it
Yeah,
because
that's
you'd
no
have
good.
to know this kit intimately.
Yes.
Um, I like, for example, if you look at it, maximizing his offensive output, you'd actually mostly want to you'd want to open with this basic, and I forget which one it is precisely. One of the specials resets the cooldown of the other. The other one lowers the cooldown of the other special. So you'd want to open up the basic, and then one special, and then the next turn you want to open up with the one that resets the cooldown entirely,
They both
followed
reset the
by the
other's
second.
cooldown.
Right. But only if they are used first. They have to be the
Only if they're
ability
used
that's
first.
used
Yes.
first. That is the key. And so
Yes.
there's like a Rubik's Cube. You have to do a specific order if you want to maximize the ability to constantly spam his specials. It's interesting. And what I think will be really interesting is see how the AI handles it down the line.
Yeah. This seems like a programming hell for the AI just because there's so much going on. But I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Um, so, um, as far as uses for him, I mean, obviously he's going to be good in Grand Arena. He's obviously going to be good in Territory War. But I think we're all kind of expecting that. People in Grand Arena, if you have him, you're going to have a huge advantage just because this will be by far the best clone team that there is. Um, so if you got him, you got a huge heads up. But the one thing that I am super interested to try him in would be Phase 2 of the Heroic Sith Raid. I mean, he's going to break it. So he's a Jedi, so you can throw him under the Jedi Knight Revan team. You can basically drop Jolee, throw him in there, and you'll have Armor Shred, which obviously stacks and greatly increases the damage output, because that's the big problem with Scion is the insane amount of defense that he has. And then just the multiple attacks that he takes, the fact that his basic, ignores defense, and with the, mass attacks on that team, um, I, I am really antsy to get him to 7-star here in 6 months and actually test him in the Heroic Sith Raid.
I think he'll be fun there for sure. I think he'll put up some big damage numbers. I think it is entirely possible if he is the leader of a team to have to do some working with it in P1 with Grandmaster Yoda. If you can figure out a way to get Nihilus to consistently steal debuffs, there's a way to get him to do some serious damage in P1 as well.
Interesting. You said with him as the leader?
With him as a lead, clone team, I think you'd want to throw Grandmaster Yoda in there for buff spreading, and then again, it wouldn't be just him and the clones, it would be him for his lead, particularly Grandmaster Yoda and somebody. I'd really put it together, but just to me, the idea of 2% stacking offense every single time that the enemy gains a debuff, if you can get something going with Nihilus stealing debuffs, and probably with Retribution, if you can get that into the mix, you could get your offense up pretty high pretty quick. wouldn't last very long, but it
Yeah.
might do
I
consistent damage.
Yeah, I think the only problem is I think that same idea could actually work in phase two as well. I think there are probably more buffs in phase two though, because you have the extra sides who also get stealth and offense up and all that
Hmm.
stuff. So you could probably stack up quite a bit more offense in that phase. But yeah, that's a good thought.
I mean, I
As
think
far
they'll be
as
better in phase two. The downside to phase two is that if your guild is anything like most of the ones that I've been to, phase two doesn't last very long.
that's
So you get
totally
your one or
yeah,
you get your one team and that's it.
yes,
P1, if you go quickly, you can run 2, 3, sometimes 4.
yeah, that's a really good point. Of course, depending on how your guild does raid specifically. Um,
Right.
what are you thinking for meta counters as far as him in the arena? Because he's obviously going to be in the arena. He's specifically built to take down Malik. That's kind of obvious from the stacking max health down. So, what do you think as far as counters?
Well, he has a lot of line item vetoes in his kit, meaning that he has a lot of things built in that are specifically designed to prevent certain counters. Uh, Night Sisters without no revive, shred.
Yeah,
I think with Empire without the health down with Malik, I think Malik could darn near solo the entire. Um,
yeah,
I mean, just things like that. So, I mean, to me, based off of the kit now, um, Adme looks like a possible strong counter down the line. They might, we'll see what Art Trooper brings to the table really once he gets up and going.
yeah,
Whether or not he shuts them down or who they add in the future may change things. But at the same time, a lot of these characters are also public at the same time. So while they can add things to his team, they could also add a lot to the Padme team.
yeah. That's a really good point. You know, it's kind of cool that we kind of have two options for Galactic Republic, and like Ahsoka, you can kind of move her around. Um, I suspect. I mean, General Anakin, he should be a beast even under Padme too. So that will certainly be an option. Um, but the one thing I was kind of thinking about for counters, because he has the ability to dispel debuffs. You have Rex who cleanses debuffs. I was thinking that an Emperor Palpatine with Darth Nihilus could maybe even do Dooku because he has some benefits towards Galactic Republic. Maybe some sort of tank and Bastila Shan or Darth Revan. I think Darth Revan would be a really good option also. Just because that Emperor Palpatine lead is crazy good. Malik is the only reason it's not meta. Because Darth Revan under Emperor Palpatine is absolutely insane. But that's as far as what I've read so far. That is kind of what I'm thinking as top possible counter to Skywalker. Um, if he actually ends up taking off in the arena like we're expecting.
I would say the potential downside to that team and a lot of other two things. Like for example, Dooku. I think he's a great character wise, but I was pretty disappointed to see what they did with him in Relics. They did not increase his effective health pool enough, even at maximum Relic level. Currently, he maxes out at 50. I think it's 52,000 health and about 28,000 protection.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if you build him as a complete tank, you're only looking at about 100, 150 absolute maximum effective health.
But
That's just too easy to get one shot.
yeah, but his effective health is kind of a little bit bigger. If you have the Zeta on him where he recovers 15% protection, if you kind of load him up with protection, you do have a little bit larger health pool to kind of work with. If you've built him around countering.
You do. Again, just my worry would be something like, for example, he retaliates, and every time he does, he attacks twice if it's an active Republic enemy. So on
Yes.
2 different retaliates, each one, even though it doesn't look like it and it doesn't show it because critical immunity doesn't stack, he's actually gaining 2 individual stacks of critical immunity. So that's 4% offense to the Anakin team every single time he has this double.
That's a good point.
Every single time he's hit. If you hit him even 8-10 times, you're looking at the same bonus that a Jedi Knight Revan team gets just on the offense end. And I think
Yep.
if you can't put him down quickly, it would go over fast. That and the speed and getting tenacity up before any of the Emperor Palpatine guys take a turn is something that unfortunately deal with unless they bring a probe droid. And another unfortunate is they have not yet fixed, if you will, massive damage. It's still 99,099, which is no longer
ridiculous.
impressive.
Yeah.
Completely ridiculous.
Just multiply it by 10. I mean,
right. I mean, my Relic 7 Knight to Spirit does that on a basic attack.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's 100% true. Hopefully they do some changes there, but we shall see. So yeah, that's kind of the rundown on General Skywalker, and of course the event just started today. We haven't done a whole hell of a lot of using him or anything of the sort so far, but we'll have a little bit more information on that next week. Event requirements. What do you think? Was it too strict? I mean, because like they said, recommend Relic 3, and I am starting to understand why.
I don't think that everybody needs to be Relic 3, but I think you need the key characters. Probably Relic 2, 3, or maybe even 5, depending on the accessibility to mods that you. A lot of people are doing it with less, but not a whole lot less.
Yeah.
I recall anybody doing it with. I've heard so far. We'll see. There's still time. I haven't heard of anybody like, hey, I'm doing this with gear 10s. I don't see that happening. I think you're going to need some relic levels on some. What?
Yep. And I can't say I'm surprised. I'm not. I wish I were, but the characters, honestly, I thought is a little bit less steep than I was honestly expecting, and I think that's why they went so high with the gear levels, because there's a decent chance that a lot of longtime players are kind of there on a lot of these characters. It's just the gear level that's the issue.
Yeah. And also, to be frank, they make more money off of gear levels than they do off of shards at this point.
Yeah.
Older characters.
I think I agree with you. That's it. Kind of seems like that's the way that they've been going, and will probably continue to go. Relics and all of this is kind of, it's added a lot to farm and stuff. Something else that's been kind of interesting is, have you noticed the number of like small cheap packs, like these sub $10 ones? I thought that's kind of interesting how they've had so many of those lately.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to draw some people in who wouldn't normally spend, because a lot of their moves lately have been boxing out free-to-play players so badly.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to draw more people into starting.
actually,
that they are losing.
that's kind of a good point. Just regarding General Skywalker and how you get him to 7-star. Everybody's kind of up in arms about the fact that he requires the guild event tokens, and same currency as Malik, obviously, but this does kind of put it in a situation where a lot of people that are unlocking him aren't immediately taking him 7-star, which is actually a pretty big benefit to the cheap players. I say cheap players, free to play, or people just don't spend a lot. People aren't there. People haven't been playing as long, that sort of stuff. This is actually kind of a benefit to them, as much as a lot of people are pissed off. And a lot of those free to play players upset about the requirements on this event. It's kind of nice that it's unlikely that you'll be dealing with a ton of 7-star relic ones right out of the gate.
Right, you had to get somebody who's got everything ready to go, and made no mistake, you almost certainly had to have spent some money on Shakti in order to get her relic if she's necessary.
Yes,
to have relic.
That's a good point.
I don't think she is. I think you probably do it with a sock. Almost certainly. But, not everybody has the mods in order to make that work. So if you need a relic Shakti, you're not doing it free to play. Almost assured. Unless you banked for months and months and months ahead of time. That's different. But I mean they are obviously slowly moving towards boxing free-to-play players completely in metas, with making the requirements just too hard to for the Revan teams. It was obvious. It was a lot, but it was obvious. For this, I don't think too many people saw ships being a part.
Well, not until the QA last week when they explicitly said it. Up until that point,
Right. But by then, the damage is done. It's too close. If you have your ETA 2 at 4-star, you're not getting it at 7-star in a couple of days without spending money on it.
Yep, 100%. It's crazy. Well, so the main reason I wanted to have you on this week was, of course, because like me, you have this affection for mods. And so I kind of wanted to just talk about some modding in general. And we're going to kind of talk about just relics and how that's affected modding, because, a lot of people are kind of getting into having a few relic characters. And we're going to talk about kind of how that's changed things. And we're going to talk about something very controversial regarding speed, which should be a lot of fun. So what are your general thoughts as far as, what relics have done to modding? Do you think there's like a big change or not much of a change? What are your thoughts there?
I think there's a huge temporary change, because relics are still new. It's like Gear 13, still relatively new at this point. Relics are a very, very new thing, and because of that, there are going to inherently be some teams that have relics, and then some that are still Gear 11. Relics almost entirely box out Gear 11 teams from being able to count.
Yeah.
A lot of them are boxing out Gear 12 counter teams, even some that straight up counter teams to a team particularly. You throw them at, with three to 5 relic levels across them. All of a sudden, a Gear 12 team can't touch them anymore. So, in that regard, right now, it should make you rethink your priority on modding. For example, use my Night Sister. Use them on defense. I've always been a fan of high damage, high off, and then balance speed. Not slow, but I want them to deal a ton of damage. With relic levels, I have my Spirit and Mother Talzin. Made both of them significantly faster than what they were. they are at this point doing enough damage that they can instantly kill almost any Gear 12 character, regardless of what the lead is. Even a
Yep.
Malik, you know, Spear can almost drop him out.
Yeah, she can. I mean,
So
it's pretty ridiculous, and that's kind of the same thing we've seen kind of with Anakin so far. Is just damage output. He's such a great candidate, just because he can wipe out Malik with without too much trouble a lot of times.
right, and now if you take that same Anakin team against Holy Relic 7 Darth Revan team, you have some pretty serious mods in order to pull off a win with that.
Yep.
Not everybody can do that.
The thing I have found most interesting is the change as far as what secondaries are super good. To me, that has been probably the biggest effect of relics, because every relic level is a base stat increase. It's not you don't have these middle of the gear levels anymore where you're using mods that aren't accounting for stats. Like, everything counts. And
So,
go ahead.
I mean, interrupt, but for those who do not know or are listening, current gear bonus values do not apply to your mod base. So, for example, if you have a gear 12.5, you have a gear 12.5. Let's say you have a Darth Revan at gear 12.5. You don't have yours at gear 30.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sitting there and you're looking at the bonus 12.5. Let's say they had 6,500 for the fusion core. That 6,500 is not your mod. People who are unaware of this. However, things like additional strength, all tactics, additional agility, those do go towards it. It's only when you upgrade the existing gear level that the previous bonus values get added to the base that is modified. Correct. Relics, because they only adjust the base stats, all 100% modifiable. So with each relic, increase your 3,000 health, that's affected by a 30% additional health mods. That adds an additional 30% for that without having. It's like a whole other gear level.
Yeah, it's.
Multiplies quickly.
Yes, it's like, well, it's really kind of like multiple gear levels. There's a, just because there are stats that you also get that you don't get anywhere else. You get bonus evasion, bonus crit avoidance, all that sort of stuff. It, makes an even bigger difference as well. So yeah, it's the difference between a gear 12.5 Revan and the gear 13, by adding that additional 18 speed, the additional 20 speed. That's 2 extra speed you get from a speed set. But
right,
these the secondaries, if you've got a lot of like good health or good offense secondaries, those things are money nowadays. With these increases in stats, most health percentage and offense percentage mods, they're going to be far better than their flat secondary counterparts. Whenever you start getting into relics, and then of course the higher relic you get, the more there becomes a gap between those as well.
Yeah, doesn't mean I would go throwing away all of your flat secondary.
Oh, of course not. Yes.
I don't mean to use specific, just to everybody listening. If you see your flat secondaries like, oh, it's terrible now, I only want percentage. Be careful, because for a long time, percentages were completely useless. for a lot of different mod types. Offense in particular offense percentage was the worst secondary role in the game because it was usually limited to something like 0.23 or 0.41% offense, and most characters only had that time about between 2 and 3,000 base offense. It's terrible.
Yep.
They could easily rebalance it whenever they do the next mod upgrades. So they could bring it back to something like an increase in flat offense values, for example. So don't make the same mistake twice and keep mods. But for the time being, percentage-based stats are substantial. Focus on your offense percentage in particular. Right now, one of the most important. That and I think critical chance personally is hugely overlooked. So many people see a character 70, even 80% critical chance and think, good, I don't need any more critical chance. Useless. That's a very, very wrong approach, especially given how critical we see in various different.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I totally agree. I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think you and I actually had this discussion in your channel, but was talking about I think it was Mother Towson and like what crit chance and say an offense secondary are equal to, and it was like 1% crit chance was basically equal to I think it was almost 1.5% offense secondary, which, I mean, how many 1.5% offense secondaries do you have? Probably not a ton. That's a decent proc on one, one proc on a secondary stat, but 1% crit chance is a pretty bad proc on a secondary stat. So it's far more likely that you have something that's 2 or above 2% secondary crit chance. So there's a lot of potential to kind of maximize things there with those just because of that difference.
Absolutely. And people look entirely too much at, hey, my offense is this, or, this is what my damage will be when I do land a critical hit, but not looking at how often they're actually landing critical hits, especially with single target characters. Someone like Grandmaster Yoda, for example. I still see a lot of people. It was understandable in the Jedi Knight Revan meta because there was a lot of immunity and a critical hit avoidance in that meta. But now there's absolutely no reason not build your Grandmaster Yoda with a good amount of critical chance, whether you're using him against Darth Revan or against the General Grievous team. Grievous teams, for example, they start essentially with 50% critical avoidance. And if you're like me and you throw a critical avoidance arrow on your B2, it immediately puts it up to 85. You don't have 110, 120% critical chance. And again, for those who are unaware, critical avoidance subtracts directly from critical chance.
That's
60%
correct.
Critical avoidance and 120% critical chance. 60% effective critical chance. You don't have 110, 120, 130% effective critical chance. You're not going to land a crit. That's B2. And that is 9 times out of 10 where a Jedi Knight Revan count will lose to a Grievous team because they cannot bring B2 down. Or B1 wears down their protection.
Yes, that is an excellent point. And this was kind of the same before, whenever you're going Jedi Knight Revan versus Jedi Knight Revan, I was talking about this for a long time. There's so much, crit immunity and crit avoidance, and it's so difficult to just do any damage to them and kill off Jolee, that going with an offense set with offense primaries was a great idea because that helped you cut through that. And that's kind of the same thing you're talking about here, except now it's more with crit chance because you can counteract that to a decent degree. And by going with high crit chance, you can make it to where you can do a much bigger dent against those teams than you would be able to otherwise.
And even lower end character, the difference between a crit and not a crit, is between 20,000 damage and 30,000 damage adds up a lot. I mean, you don't have to have great offense sets as long as you have decent critical chance. And it has long been my favorite offense. Top down, the things I look primarily for are critical chance across your roster where it's needed. Your Jangos, your Boba Fett's, your Grandmaster Yoda's, your, to a lesser extent, your Chewbacca. A lot of people don't put any critical chance in Chewbacca. Believe it or not, he actually kind of needs it. And for a segue into another thing we were going to talk about is having speed in the
Yes, this is huge,
and not the wrong places. I see it a lot where people will just throw, as fast as possible every possible character they can, even ones that are key characters. I'm a firm believer that get your Sark as fast as you can, Vader as fast as you can. However, if you can't make everyone else in their team go directly at that same speed through something that I refer to as a turn meter cascade, one character sets it up to where the rest of the team immediately follows, immediately takes turn, is set at 100% turn meter. If you cannot set that up, you're losing a vast amount of it.
Yes, that's 100% true. A while back, I wrote an article kind of about this topic and the fact that, specifically with like the Emperor Palpatine team that you're talking about with Vader, if you're throwing all your speed on Vader, you can leave a huge gap in turn meter. So you're basically outspeeding the rest of your team, and you're leaving this big kind of gap in there for something to happen. And, so I guess I'm going to talk more about not having a speed gap, but more of a tight attack window. And while it's not useful on necessarily every team, it can be very beneficial. There's a lot of teams that I kind of mod this way. Sorry, slight detour. Chicken Bottom told me I need to kill 5s first because he's Zeta, which is a good point. I did finally beat the phase 2 of the Anakin event, so I'm on to phase 4, which is pretty exciting. So we'll see how long this takes, but it's probably going to be Sunday before I get this finished because this is awful. Anyway, there's a lot of situations where, Vader, for example, if you take speed off of him and give it to someone else, you can actually tighten up that turn order and make the rest of your team actually faster, even though you're giving up speed on that top end. It's kind of the same thing. I've been talking about this team for quite a while, and that is the fast wicket. You can make who's up late, Paplu. You can make him much faster than you can Wicket with the same mods. But the difference is Wicket can give turn meter to the entire team flawlessly, perfectly every time. And it's pretty easy for Paplu to kind of outspeed the rest and leave such a big turn gap in there. It requires more speed on everybody else by making him super fast. Where even if you have a little bit slower Wicket, you don't need as much speed on everyone else, so you can focus on other things like, offense or potency on low gray or something along those lines.
And as importantly, at the same time, by lowering the speed of those key characters who usually eat up a lot of your very, very fast mods, you can move that speed other teams and other characters and actually improve your roster as a whole.
Yes.
So believe it or not, by making some characters in a team, you can actually make that team better by slowing down either the key character or other people who unnecessarily have speed sets or very, very fast speed sets, and make another team better at the same time. What are we talking about, for example? If we're sticking with the Vader Palpatine team, so Vader gives 20. Assume that Vader debuffs everyone. Why he needs to be fast and potent.
Yes.
He lands 4 debuffs and is able to use his saber throw. He will cleanse all 4. That is an automatic 20% turn meter to the rest of the team. I'm a big fan of Vader, Palpatine, Tarkin.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe he needs to be Zeta, and I'll go over how I build mine in just a moment.
Who needs to
And
be Zated?
Tarkin.
Okay.
I love Zeta Tarkin.
Okay. Interesting.
Imperial Probe Droid, and then TIE Fighter pilot. And I have it with a very weird turn on. I have it with Vader first, then I have it with Imperial Probe Droid, and mine is Zeta as well, then Tarkin, then Emperor Palpatine, and dead last is TIE Fighter pilot. The reasoning is that so Vader goes first, and after that, he uses his saber throw, gives 20% turn meter. Imperial Probe Droid goes next. Imperial Probe Droid clears any potential critical immunity or any tenacity up that somehow happened in between. And then Tarkin will go. Tarkin gives himself potency up before he applies his debuffs. And this is where the Zeta comes into effect. He gives himself potency up, then he applies his debuffs, making it very, very unlikely that he does not apply debuffs to all 5 characters. And I'm including a Zeta Bastila League Jedi. He has a very high probability of debuffing all 5 characters not named Jolie.
Interesting.
And then if he's Zeta, he will gain 20% potency per debuff character. So he'll maintain his potency up for one more turn, instantly take the turn because he has debuffed everyone, given Emperor Palpatine lead and his own unique. He will instantly take another turn on that special, and then be able to drop the entire enemy team by 50% turn meter. Then Emperor Palpatine goes directly after Tarkin, stuns whoever, and unfortunately it is RNG driven, or depending on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is why I have TIE Fighter pilot go dead last. He can ability block on his special, and so you reserve the ability block whoever was not stunned by Palpatine. If you have TIE Fighter pilot go before Palpatine, you have no idea who the RNG gods are going to gift stun to and who they are not. By having him go after, you can have an informed decision on who to prevent take a useful turn, if you will.
I like it. A very interesting setup. I've used a lot of those same strategies. I definitely haven't. I don't use TIE Fighter Pilot, but I do definitely like that strategy. I do something that's probably less beneficial to my roster, and I use Basilishan Fallen on that team. I just freaking love her with Emperor Palpatine. She's absolutely insane.
That team will kill General Grievous. For those who are unaware, that team can bring down Grievous. That team can bring down a lot.
Yes.
You bring Basilishan Fallen and Fighter Pilot.
Yep, that's actually in Territory War. That's what I use it for, is taking down General Grievous teams. And yeah, it absolutely can wreck face. It is super awesome. But here lately, I've been using on defense in Grand Arena. I've been kind of rebuilding my Grand Arena team, but yeah, she's crazy good there. You know, with her, with Vader, with Tarkin. I mean, just those 4. I mean, if you don't go first or go pretty OP, like, you're not going to stop the turn meter train. It will go and it will run your ass over, and there won't be anything you can do about it. I love teams like that where something can so easily go wrong on defense. That's another reason why I like the Night Sister. I mean, it takes almost nothing for things to go very wrong against them, and the Emperor Palpatine with Bastila Shan is kind of the same way.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And whether or without Bastila Shan, for me, I know a lot of people. Everybody's roster is different, but for me, my roster is Empire centric offense. I use my Imperial Troopers, really, but if they're clocked well, I mean, they can kill a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just for Night Sisters anymore. They're not just for bounty hunters. They can kill a lot of Empire team with Krennic. I usually bring Death Trooper along for that one, and then I have the previously mentioned for Palpatine. Those three teams afford a lot of versatility.
Yep.
In them, they can kill pretty much anything not named Revan.
I've been finding less use for my Imperial Troopers, but one thing interesting about the Troopers is Stark. So he's kind of the catalyst for that team. Now, what do you do with your speed sets? So Stark is obviously kind of the keystone character for that team as far as making it go and the speed and everything. What do you How do you manage your speed mods in general? Like, do you try to spread them out, or do you select certain characters for certain teams and try to make them super fast and then build the rest of the team after that? Or what do you think is the best way to do that?
Both.
Well,
Silly, but
yes.
Both. I know you know what I mean by that. You know, you always want to do kind of a self-evaluation of your roster and what is the most important, and kind of tier off your teams. And also depending on use, what can you get away with? I find personally that teams on offense, I can get away with a lot worse modding.
Yeah.
So I tend to give priority to my defense.
Me too.
And I tend to give priority to characters who actually need the Empire team. Unfortunately, very, very speed hungry. So they need 3 of my top speeds. After that, my next 3 fastest characters in terms of they get their speed set exclusively are Jedi Knight Revan. Mine is capable of outspeeding a 340 speed Darth Revan in case I need it. I usually don't use them for Darth Revan anymore, but in case I need it. And Grand Admiral Thrawn, I believe, is in the 320 range currently. And then my Nest, which typically goes on defense underneath a Django lead, is 330, 360 speed.
Nice.
So things like that. Yes, for example, with the Django Nest team, JTR, she'll go first, but it kind of forces you to use JT or Jedi Revan or something that's very, very quick, because if you do not go ahead of it, that team's going to do some serious damage. And so I use speed to leverage my opponent, to force them into using certain teams, rather than just blindly making everybody as fast as possible.
Yes, I agree, and the point you made about using your best mods on defense is so important. Just because, like, for example, my Jedi Knight Revan team, it's a team I use on offense, and the mods on it, speed wise, you wouldn't be impressed with it. But I basically use it as a 3-man team, and I can take down so much stuff with it. It doesn't need that much speed. So that allows me to still have an elite team, but take that speed and put it on, for example, Wicket. My Wicket is 298. He's got one of my best speed sets. And very, very, not every Grand Arena, but I would say at least 50 to 60% of the time, that Ewoks team gets multiple defenses because no one expects it. And it's absolutely awesome. That is my favorite team that I have. My Ewoks. It's crazy. But finding ways like that to kind of catch opponents off guard without hurting you offensively, I think is always a great way to go, because if you can get the head start and you kind of know what the AI is going to do, you can set it up to where it does kind of put your opponent in a tough spot.
And that goes a lot back to not overspeeding some character.
Yes.
I'd love to have Vader at effective after his boost, effective great speed. I can't make Palpatine. Couldn't, I mean, under no circumstances could I do it unless I gave him Darth Revan's. Have to have him in mod depth.
Yeah.
There's no sense in giving somebody 140 if you can't base the rest of the team around it. Kind of like something like First Order, another one. First Order, if they have enough turn meter, there's no reason where after First Order officer, you should not have to give anybody else 130 speed ever. You don't need to. See so much, build, the old school Halo as utterly fast as humanly possible. Yeah, there is some benefit to that, but it's really not needed, and it can actually mess up your turn order if he goes too fast. Versus, for officer, you cherry pick having box go first, remove a debuff, give turn meter to everybody else, and then you go from there.
And I think that specifically that team is one of those that really kind of depends on what you do with it. Like, I have a fast Kylo, just because my crew is so slow, because he is like jacked with health and crit avoidance and defense and all that stuff. I mean, he's very difficult to deal with, but it works really well on defense, because of how often it gives turn meter to everyone else, and not to mention, well, my First Order officer is kind of pathetic, so that doesn't help either. But it does kind of depend on where you're at with those teams also. Let's see. So back to kind of talking about relics and stuff. What primaries do you think probably benefited the most or suffered the most with relics?
That is a tough one. I think, honestly, I'm not certain that anything really suffered or really gained a whole lot. I think Relics honestly did a pretty good job evening the keel a bit.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, offense gained a lot, but so did defense.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. More importantly, defense secondaries gained a lot. Looking defense secondary.
Yes, I totally agree. Except I think the one difference is, I think the biggest, buff happened for, offense mods specifically, because while defense does counteract it, it only counteracts it in Arena, Territorial War, and Grand Arena. There's still raids and all that other stuff.
Yeah, that's very true.
And, they get a huge bonus to, they get a huge bonus with, doing raid. I mean, the raid damage has just gone through the roof since relics were introduced. You know, even just on a couple characters. I mean, it can be the difference between you finishing, 20th and 3rd in a raid just based on one team, and, as far as like crit damage mods and offense primaries, I've sliced so many of them for that reason. With relic characters, especially like Grandmaster Yoda, who I use in Phase 2, he's just, it's crazy the increase there.
At the risk of sounding insane, I think critical also.
You think what?
Looks like it. I think critical chance gained a lot. Also,
explain.
Like I said, at the risk of sounding. So, on paper, it looked like critical chance did really, really poorly. Many characters gained an absolute ton of critical chance. However, a nearly equal amount of characters also gained critical avoidance, some of which did not previously have it.
That's a really
which isn't a huge deal. If you have 12% critical avoidance and you had 0 before, and your team doesn't have a whole lot, it's not 12% out of somebody who's critting at 90% isn't going to make that big of a deal.
Yes.
Where it does make a big deal is characters like B2, L3, Zalbar, Daka, characters who either have teams built around them that have critical avoidance or do very, very well with a critical avoidance arrow, bringing it up to 50, 50% critical avoidance is a big deal, especially now that so many people are seeing it as an opportunity to clear out critical chance from their rosters. I don't do critical chance. This character is 60% base.
Yeah.
Sitting there, with an extra 5% at 65, if you bring your critical avoidance up to 40, 50%, they're hardly ever going to land a crit. They can go an entire match without landing a single crit against that character.
Yep.
And then also, additionally, at the same time, it does allow you to take critical chance from some characters who really, really didn't need it, and put it on ones who did. Some characters who were, you could not legitimately consider a critical damage set for a lot of characters that you now can, because you're able to pull 30-40% critical chance off of the characters that needed it previously, and now they can operate on 15 or 20%.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can't really disagree. My house is getting crazy. I am about to have to end this thing, but is there any other final thoughts you kind of have? Just regarding either the primary, secondaries, and relics, or the speed topic.
Well, the speed topic is a little hard to get into because
we'll have to do another round and just entirely talk about speed.
We could do a whole one on speed. And yes. I think a big part of the speed problem, if you will, and I don't get me wrong, I love speed sets. They have a great amount of versatility and use, but I do think people overuse them, and I especially 100%. Think people over-arm them. So many people do not have good offense or critical damage or defense or tenacity sets because they farm nothing but speed so long. And that creates, a lot of issues. Why did I just lose that? How did I lose this Grand Arena? My opponent had to have been cheating. No, you actually had terrible mods if you looked at anything more than the DSR comparison.
Yes. I could not agree more. Yeah, that's a great point.
But I mean, and as far as secondaries go, there's this thing floating around where somebody was showing the value of all defense.
Seriously?
And it's been a defender of defense for as long as I can remember. But
hey, I'm sorry. there's an issue, and I have to go apparently.
That's quite all right.
Yeah, so we're gonna kill this thing, and I am going to go deal with the madness around here, and I will put your contact information and stuff in the show notes, and I encourage everyone to go check out your Discord channel, and yeah. So Nikarah, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it, and we will have to get you on again in the future.
I think I will really quickly, for those who are finish that thought on the stream chat so you can read it. Otherwise, we can pick it up.
Okay, sounds good.
Good night.
All right, later.